I'm David Volk, a voice of the resistance, albeit a strange and silly one. Today's post, here's why it's weird to be a sport parent. I may not be good, but I still won. It's weird to have kids who participate in sports. During COVID, my daughter used to do tumbling on the lawn and then joined the high school gymnastics team. She also was on a local swim team for 12 years and her high school swimming team for 3. My son was also on the same swim team, for boys of course, and also spent a year on his own school team. Both of them did quite well, thank you, with each qualifying for local tournaments. This comes as a great shock to me, since I am from the mighty Volk clan, the only people I've known to get C's in PE. I mean, how hard do you have to not be trying to not get an A or B in this class? Heck, in my kid's PE class at high school, you were pretty well guaranteed an A if you bothered to show up at all and made a token effort at participation. I don't know where they get it from. It's not for lack of trying, though. When I was 5, my parents signed me up for Little League Baseball, but did not bother to teach me the rules of the game. So I spent many hot Southwest Florida mornings standing in right field, waiting for something to happen. Anything, really. What? I wasn't sure. But since I was in right field, there was little chance of it happening anywhere near me. So mostly I just stood there sweating in the sweltering North Fort Myers heat with nothing to do other than wipe my nose on my sleeve. Then one day I made an amazing discovery. My glove may not have been much use as sporting equipment because there were no grounders coming my way. But if I put it on my head, it served as a much better sun visor than the puny bill of my ball cap. So I took to wearing it on my head and never understood why people were poking fun of me. Not too surprisingly, I was not invited back the following summer. I went more than a decade before getting bit by the sports bug again. I liked watching football and baseball, especially after I learned the rules, and even had a relationship partly based around the Kansas City Royals. But I didn't go back to the field of play until my freshman year of college, starting with hacky sack, which I was surprisingly good at. Emboldened by my dorm lawn success, I took a racquetball class, which started out great until I beamed Ellen De Leon in the head with a return volley, which pretty much ruined any chance I had of asking her out. Embarrassment and shame weren't enough to knock me out of the class, though, but a lack of a textbook was. I had no idea there was going to be a written test on the rules until the teacher announced it the day before, so I dropped the class before I failed. The bug didn't bite me again until I became one of the founding members of the B'nai B'rith Hillel softball team in Seattle. I hadn't improved much, but I usually managed to get on base, perhaps because the other team was so shocked I made contact with the ball that it rolled right past them. I mostly played right field again, which I had started calling left out, but I did have one moment of greatness when I was playing shortstop and had an unassisted double play as a result of knowing the rules really, really well. It happened when a batter hit a line drive right over my head, and I spastically jumped in the air with my arm extended, knowing there was no chance in hell I'd actually come down with it, but then somehow came down with the ball in my glove. The runner on first had already advanced to second without tagging up at first base. And I knew if I could tag first base before he got back, I'd get the second out. Since no one else seemed to know this rule, everyone was puzzled to see me run towards first base, including the runner, until the umpire called him out before he realized what had just happened. Of course, I also had my low moments, like the day I was in left field and chased after a hard-hit fly ball that I missed, but didn't miss me. It hit me right in the head, knocking me over. Suddenly, everyone was running toward me to see if I was okay. One person even held up 2 fingers and asked me how many fingers they were holding up. Ever the wise guy responded, "Well, I would tell you if you just stop them make spinning. Stop. I would tell you if you just make them stop spinning." I had to say it twice. Years later, I was at a singles event standing in a buffet line, talking to a cute woman standing in front of me, when the guy behind me said, "You look real familiar, but I can't figure out why." Then he suddenly remembered. "Oh, yeah, I hit a line drive off your head," ruining any chance I might have had with the woman who had been standing in front of me, but I now realized was on the floor, doubled over, laughing. Now that I think of it, she did look an awful lot like Ellen De Leon. Despite all my apparent ineptitude, is that a word? on the field of play, I may have gotten the last laugh. Remember that double play I mentioned? Although I didn't end up talking to her until months, or maybe years later, I ended up marrying the woman who was playing first base that day. And since we didn't talk at all on that particular day, I can be sure that she didn't marry me for my athletic prowess. So I ended up winning anyway. As to whether or not my kids will end up dating someone they meet while competing, only time will tell. But in the meantime, I'll be sitting here, poolside, hoping for the best. I've been David Volk, a voice of the resistance, albeit a strange and silly one.